Hi everybody, John here and welcome to another of my Toon Boom Harmony animation tutorial videos. Before I start, I just want to say please ignore me in the bottom right hand corner for this video. Unfortunately, when I recorded this video, my software didn't record my mic. So rather than do the whole thing all over again, I thought I would just dub over the top on this video. So I apologise for that. It was not the plan, but this took about an hour to film. And I didn't really have the time to do it again. So there we go. So in today's video, I am basically going to be creating a run cycle for our Batman character. And I hope to just be able to talk you through what I'm doing as I see myself doing it. So just to kind of get us going, I'm just showing you the overall view of the background there. So Batman's going to run along this alleyway, then he's going to rappel up on top of this hotel building and then run across, stopping at the end there by that kind of gargoyle, and then with his cape waving in the wind, staring at the Batman symbol. So the first thing I want to do for this video is to get him running from one end of the alleyway to the other. So let's see what I do. I've kind of forgotten because it's been a few weeks since I actually filmed this or recorded this video. Aha, okay, yes. So the first thing I did was I created a new layer by going to the little plus symbol and then typing in line. Now this is basically just going to be a simple kind of template line so that I know that Batman isn't, or that it's running flat on the floor and not disappearing off into the sky or running into the ground. So I create this kind of basic line and then I extend it out to last the whole amount of time, I think. Yes, here we go. So I'm just going to extend all those out. So to extend out your frames, you go to the end, select them all, and then press F5, and that extends out all of your layers to the end of your animation. So before I actually start the animation, I'm now just turning on the deformers. So here you'll see I've just selected the whole character and then clicked on the button at the top, which is a kind of green circle with a cross underneath it, which shows the selected deformers. And because the whole character is selected, all the deformers in the rig are shown. And now I'm just explaining that to start animation, you always have to make sure that the animation mode button, which is the little red, yellow running man button, and the transform tool are both turned on. And then you can begin to start animating. So then whatever move you make on your character is fixed as part of the keyframe. So what I'm doing now is I'm selecting this second frame and hitting F6, and that creates a new keyframe. The first one I'm going to keep Batman as he is on the screen there, sort of standing still, and I'm going to work from that. So that if I ever need to go back to the original pose, I've got that as a reference pose at the start. But obviously that won't be a part of the final run cycle, but the second frame will be the first pose that I do. So I always like to start my keyframes, or my particularly the run poses, with the open leg position, the kind of extreme open leg, and then move on from there. And so that's what I'm going to do for this animation. Now I think I speed it up to about 4 or 6 times the speed, so it'll get quite quick in a second and you'll see me working, but I will try and explain as much as I can as we go through the animation. So I think it's about to get quick now. So like I said, I always like to start with this kind of open leg position just to get things started. And here I'm using the deformer toggle tool to kind of shape the legs and the arms. I'm moving the body around to kind of get him ready and in this position. Obviously working on the arms here, because obviously as your body swings, your shoulders move forward and back. So I'm trying to give a little bit of movement there as well. And obviously as you run as well, your face obviously, or your head turns slightly left and right. So I'm just adding those things in. So I'm adding him so he's kind of facing slightly away from the camera for this key pose. And here I've just put the kind of cape into a rough position for now. I come back later on and do the cape at the end, but I'm just putting it up in the air. And now I'm moving on to the third keyframe, and you'll see I'm just altering the leg with the deformer toggle tools and kind of getting them in position. So he's just hitting the floor now, so he's coming further down to the floor before pushing up for the kind of jump bit in the run cycle. I did get a bit confused about where the face and the arm should be in comparison to the legs. And I also started animating the wrong leg at one point. So as you'll see through the animation, I have to go back and change that. But at the moment, I'm just getting these positions right. So I've moved the whole body for the next keyframe, and obviously adjusting the leg to match it, trying to keep the foot in exactly the same position, making it look like it isn't moving at all. That's the idea. And this run cycle is not a classic one where the character runs on the spot. I am actually making him move in physical space. And I'll show you later on in the animation how I go about getting him to keep running across the screen rather than jumping back to the start position. So here's the crossover point. So I'm now moving him along, and obviously his legs are crossing over before he pushes off in the jump. Oh, and I'm on to the next one already, look. So here's the jump frame. So obviously I'm just really doing the body and the legs at the moment, just getting them to look as natural as possible. Again, as I said before in my previous sort of videos, my way of animation is not the way to animate. It's just a way that I like to do it. Obviously, working by myself, I've kind of come up with my own little sort of systems of doing it. Obviously, if you're working in a studio, there'll be a lot more stricter systems on the whole on how you animate. But I kind of make it up as I go along, really. So pick up some of the tips that I give, but don't feel like you have to do what I do or that my way is the best. It's just the way I've done it over the years, working by myself so much. So now Batman has also done the kind of full jump. He's now into the opposite landing position. So we're getting close to the sort of first frame that we did, but obviously the other way around. So the other leg is now in front and not behind. So you'll see me flicking through the different frames now, making sure that the height of each part is the same as the last time. Because what you don't want to do is have one landing position really low and another landing position really high, because then it will give a weird bouncy motion, which will look a bit odd when you're actually trying to animate. And here's the bit that I've realised I've actually animated the wrong leg. So by accident I've put the wrong leg, so it jumps backwards. So I'm trying to rearrange it. So I'm just swapping them round, copying the previous one, making sure it's in the right position. So I think we're up to keyframe 7 now, I think, in the run cycle. I think there's about 10 in total, I think, if I remember correctly. So that's the first big jump step done now. Again, I've not really worked on the face or the arms or the cape yet. This is just really the body and the legs for now that I'm working on, and the belt pieces. I've left all those. I've just done the body and the legs really for now, with a little bit of arm work, but not much. I tend to do the kind of main movement with the body and the legs first, and then come back and do the other bits and bobs later. But saying that, I chop and change all the time, depending on how bored I feel, or what I feel like doing. Because try to make it as fun as I can. So I'm now getting ready to do the second kind of jump step, making sure that the foot is in the right place and as flat as possible, and obviously matching it up with the onion skin. To turn the onion skin on and off, which is the green and the red bit, it's the last button on your toolbar, one of the red lines, the red discs. That sort of shows you the previous frame and the next frame. And if you want to extend how far back and forward you see, there's little toggles on the timeline bar which you can pull left or right to extend the exposure of your onion skin. What I love about these kind of bendy deformers is that you can really push them to their extremes, and you can get some really, really great bouncy effects. So this kind of character, it works really well on, rather than doing a kind of bone or a jointed animated character, which obviously can work as well. But this kind of deformers can give a real bouncy, bendy feel to the characters, which can look really, really good. And just add a bit more life, I think, to some of the kind of more cartoony characters. If you're unsure what keyframes to do for your animation, I would highly recommend Preston Blair's books. He's a kind of classic animator from years and years ago, But he has some brilliant books about run cycles, walk cycles, that kind of thing. He has things about hands and mouth shapes. So if you're really getting just sort of first into animation, I would definitely recommend his books, because he has some wonderful templates that you can use when you're first starting off. And I definitely used them when I was starting. So here I'm just showing you what I've done so far, and you can see that the kind of body position and the legs are now done for the 2 steps of the run cycle. And now I'm going to move on to the kind of face, the arms, the belt and the badge and that kind of thing, making sure, or trying to get a good twist in the body as he runs. Obviously we tend to sway left and right as we run or walk. So I'm going to try and add that in now. And obviously I'm going to fix that hand in the background there, which is obviously facing the wrong way. I don't think I do that actually in this video, but I do that. I've done it now since then to kind of get that facing the opposite way. So you'll see me now speeding it up again as I go through and try and add that sort of sway to the body to kind of give a much more natural look to the run. And then I go back after that and do the cape. I have no idea what I'm talking about here. I've completely forgotten. More about the face turning again, I think. I clearly talk far too much when I'm doing my tutorials, so I apologise for that. Right, here we go. Back up to 4 or 6 times speed. I'm going in and just doing the arms first. So you're getting the arms in the right position per keyframe. So just going through the keyframes and just making sure that all the arms are where they should be. Trying to get that twist into the body. And again, your arms are opposite to your legs. So if your right leg is forward, your right arm will be backwards. And the opposite way round as well. So here we go, just tinkering through the different keyframes, getting the arms in the right position, trying to get a nice swing in each arm, and also trying to give a bit of ease in and ease out, because obviously trying to make it a bit more natural. When your arm hits the high point, it will slow down a little bit, and then it will go zooming back through to the next high point where it will slow down again. So trying to get a bit of all that in while doing the arms. So here what I've done is I've copied the first keyframe that I did to the end of the keyframe, so that I can make sure that the last one in the cycle matches the first one. Because obviously the last thing you want is a massive weird jump. So I've just copied that across, and now I'm just going through and again still fiddling with the arms. They clearly didn't go very well for me because they're taking ages. I watch my animation back lots and lots of times, so I tend to do a few movements and I'll watch it 4 or 5 times back through until I'm happy with it, make a little change, watch it again. So here obviously I'm just watching through over and over and over again to make sure I'm happy. And now I'm just going through, I think it's with the face now, and checking the keyframes, making sure that all those extra parts like the ears and the badge and the face all move in the right direction with the arms. I did get a bit confused here, I have to admit. I was getting confused and a bit annoyed with myself because I couldn't quite work it out. And you can see I'm actually posing in the camera, you can see, trying to work out where the arm and the face should be because I got completely confused. So if you are stuck, I would definitely recommend get off your chair and actually work it out, actually go through the motion you're animating and kind of work it out from actually doing the movement yourself. Even time it sometimes if you're stuck with the timing to make it look as natural as possible. Again, I'm just getting the ears to move a little bit left and right as well, so that he's a bit like his head's twisting as he's running. And I'm just copying those in between the different keyframes to make sure they are the same at each stage. And now moving on to the badge, just to make sure that twists and turns and moves along with the face. As you can see there, the chin I've got now poking out over the front of the body, which looks really cool. So as his face turns, his chin pops out over the body to kind of give a real sense of him turning his body as he runs. And there, obviously, now I'm doing the belt. So the far right piece obviously twists around the body and disappears. Now to knock a piece back in 3D space, you hold down Alt and the up key, and it pushes it back in 3D space. And I'm obviously going along now, making sure that they all sway nicely and come in and out on the belt as they should do. Obviously the cutter there on the face and the badge looks really good. It works really well as well. So as the badge comes around, it gets cut by the side of the body. And again, I'm just watching it over and over and over again. The final animation I'm happy with for you know, it's not, if it was a professional job as such, I would probably spend a bit longer doing it. But obviously for these tutorials, I'm just kind of rushing a bit really, to kind of get it done as well as I can, as quickly as I can at the same time. And now I'm moving on to the cape. So again, using a deformer, which is a curved deformer, just making it wiggle in the air basically as he runs, trying to make it look again as natural as possible, but not spending too long on it. If I was going to be really picky, I would have liked it to have come around his body a little bit, because it looks like it's just stuck to his side a bit. So if I was going to spend more time on it, I probably would have changed the cape a little bit. But I think it works, you know, overall quite well. So there we go. It's going to get in towards the end of the run cycle now. Just checking that cape and making sure I'm happy with it. I wasn't at the start, so I've gone back and just changed it a bit. I think it was getting bigger and smaller, so I had to kind of just go back and change that a little bit. Yep, so I'm just doing the last few adjustments now before I finish the animation, which like I said, I'm overall very happy with. I think it looks quite good, and I'll also show it to you full in a second once I've just finished that cape. Nice sort of bouncy motion to the cape. And here we go. So this is, I think, normal speed now. So you'll see it played at normal speed. This is me flicking through. This is not actually played yet. Here we go. So I'm going to play it for you. As you'll see, it's a bit quick. So what I do is I extend out each keyframe by 1. So each keyframe there now lasts 2 frames. So you can see I'm just going along, picking up each keyframe and the end keyframe and dragging it out by 1. And because it's on auto tween, it's or tweening in between those keyframes for me automatically. And then at the end of this, I play it to you at the final pace as such. The little trick is if you want to do like a cycle, if you click on the last frame you want and then click on the stop text, it puts a little stop marker in. And then also if you put one at the start and press the start button, it puts a little start marker. And then when you hit the cycle button, it will just do that section, which is really handy. So here we go. This is the full speed run cycle of those first 2 steps. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And in the next video, I'll go through and show you how you get it to move further along rather than jumping back. Because obviously if you copy and pasted those frames, he would jump back to the start position. So I'll show you how to get him to move along the path rather than jump back in the next video. So there we go. So sorry once again for the dubbed version of this video. Hopefully we'll sort that problem out for the next video. And if you would like to watch another of my videos, please click on one of the buttons on the screen right now. I have lots and lots to watch on my YouTube channel. And of course, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the big red button. And I will be back hopefully soon with the next animation video where we're going to finish off the run cycle and get him to rappel up the side of the building. And then after that, there'll be one more video where we get him to do that final run bit and stop at the end of the hotel. So I'll be back very soon with that. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Please leave them below and I will get back to you as fast as I can. Alright, so thanks for watching and bye for now.